Welcome to Epic History Star Wars 3. We are in year 0 where the biggest event in galactic history goes down. The Empire has been riding high for the past 20 years, exterminating any opposing forces that come against them, including the Jedi that may have escaped Order 66 or the Great Jedi Purge.
Stop that Jedi scum!
And also eliminating and disbanding the Senate, so the Empire is in 100% complete control. Another thing that the Empire has been doing with the past 20 years is suppressing the Force. Palpatine has basically outlawed anything that has to do with the Force, which is why in episode 4, when Vader is talking about the Force, they just see it as a old hokey religion.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fort.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Nobody really even believes in the Force anymore because the Empire has systematically just wiped it out. Just suppressed anything and everything about the Force, including the dark side. They don't want anyone potentially rising up against them, whether it be good or bad. So they have just taken care of that and just eliminated it altogether. However, everyone is not just going along with, what's going on. You do have a opposition force, which is known as the Rebel Alliance, and they have been actively fighting back against the tyranny of the Empire. And it is through the Rebel Alliance that we get our glimpse at what's been going on with one of the twins, Leia. She is a senator from Alderaan. She sends R2-D2 down to Tatooine to try to find Obi-Wan Kenobi to get his help so they can bring Obi-Wan into the Alliance foray and try to stop the Empire once and for all. Luke, ironically, ends up with R2-D2 and C-3PO, and he receives the message that was for Obi-Wan, and after getting Obi-Wan, they resolve to go off and help Leia fight the Empire. They meet a pilot that can take them to Alderaan. The pilot they end up meeting is Han Solo. He is a lovable rogue kind of guy, along with his partner Chewbacca, who is a Wookiee from Kashyyyk. And Han Solo is a smuggler, so he basically carries, illegal goods around for people under the nose of the Empire. However, he was carrying some things for Jabba the Hutt, who controls Tatooine. They are like the mafia of Tatooine. This family controls this planet and no one does anything without them. And if you piss them off, they're going to send somebody to come and whack you. So they're basically like that, and he's gotten into a little trouble with them. And so there is a bounty on Han Solo's head. And so he's eager to do this mission because he can get some money to try to pay off the bounty. So you see the Empire has been building up to the creation of the Death Star. And the Death Star was very significant for the Empire because it was a true symbol of fear. It was like, when people see this thing, they will not mess with us at all. The Death Star is about the size of a moon. It has the equivalent power to about 3 or 4 suns. And the Death Star is powered by 8 kyber crystals. And these crystals combine together to create a super laser. So once Leia is captured by Darth Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin, who is a leader in the Imperial forces, they need to demonstrate to her and the rest of the rebels that they are not playing any more games with these people. They pick her home world of Alderaan to test out the Death Star and completely blow the planet up. Everyone on Alderaan is dead within 3 seconds. And so the Death Star became the most powerful and terrifying weapon the galaxy had ever seen. This is what the Empire want to do to anyone who opposes them. On the way to Alderaan, Luke is getting his first trainings in the Jedi ways. since Obi-Wan gives him the lightsaber his father had. Once they are on the Death Star, Luke and Han rescue Leia, although Obi-Wan ends up facing Darth Vader in the process and he dies. Everything is kind of culminating. They meet up with some other rebel leaders and they decide to go take on the Death Star because the plans that Leia had stolen away were plans of the Death Star, like the schematics and everything, and they discovered a flaw in the design which allows them to destroy it essentially. So they're gonna need a big old array of pilots and everything to try to get it done. Obi-Wan has basically become one with the Force and he can communicate with Luke through the Force, being a Force spirit. So he tells Luke to trust his instincts and use the Force to like guide him, and Luke does, and he ends up getting the money shot that destroys the Death Star and blows it up.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Yavin was important because after the destruction of the Death Star, that was a cataclysmic shift in the history of the galaxy. It was the first time that anybody really stood up to the Empire, and everything that happened after that is proceeding on that moment of the Battle of Yavin and Luke blowing up the Death Star, which is why the Star Wars universe starts at 0 BBY, because that battle was so significant. The next time we catch up with everyone is in episode 5, and it's been 3 years since the events of Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope. After the destruction of the Death Star, the Empire had just been on a rage, like they are in Hulk smash mode and they are just destroying anything rebel that they see. Also, Vader has become obsessed with Luke Skywalker and he is trying to find him as well. They finally trail them to Hoth, and they go down to Hoth and completely destroy the Rebels Echo base. It is completely obliterated. So Luke goes off after getting some advice from Obi-Wan to meet a Jedi Master named Yoda. And so he goes to Dagobah to meet Yoda, where Yoda has been hiding in exile ever since the events of Episode 3. So when we see Yoda again, he is, or for the first time depending on your order of watching, he is kind of eccentric, kind of like, you know, one of those crazy old people that, you know, wears bags on their hair or something, and you see them and you're just like, what's up with this person? He's pulling one of those. He's just a crazy old man, or he playing like a crazy old man to try to test Luke out and see what his personality is like. And once he sees that Luke has all of these qualities that are not really Jedi-ish, like he's reckless, he's impatient, he's like, I can't train this kid because he's doing way too much. Han and Leia, through their escapes and travels over the past 3 years, also end up falling in love with each other, and they end up in Cloud City, which is on the planet of Bespin. There, they are greeted by one of Han's old friends, Lando Calrissian, and they think everything's going well and good, but it ends up being a trap by the Empire, and Darth Vader is there. They take Han Solo, dip him in some carbonite, and give him over to Boba Fett, who is now a bounty hunter. He takes Han away back to Tatooine to Jabba to collect his money. Luke eventually is getting trained by Yoda, and he teaches Luke to confront his fears. His friends have been captured over in Cloud City, and Yoda's like, don't do it, it's a total trap. But of course he's not just gonna let his friends go, and so he heads over to Cloud City to confront Vader, even though he is not ready to face him at this point. So they are having a lightsaber duel, and Darth Vader reveals to Luke that he is his father, when previously Obi-Wan had told Luke that his father was dead. His uncle really didn't talk about his father much, so he cannot believe that Darth Vader is his father, and it is like an earth-shattering moment for Luke. And it was also kind of like an earth-shattering moment for everyone that watched it at the time. No one knew that was going to happen. Luke and Vader are showing some real parallels at this point. The first one is they are both very impulsive and reckless and very impatient.
Much anger in him, like his father.
You see Yoda telling Luke this when he first is being impatient about meeting Yoda and he doesn't know he's actually talking to Yoda. You see this in Darth Vader when he's still Anakin, and Obi-Wan's cautioning him to be patient and not want to rush into things, such as the situation when he was denied being made a master on the Jedi Council. Another similarity between them is the loss of a limb, which is also kind of like losing a part of their humanity, and Darth Vader is pretty much more machine than human, as Obi-Wan said in A New Hope. So he has pretty much lost all of his humanity, and there is still hope for Luke to not go down the same path as his father. But when Luke is going through his training and he has to go into the cave and face his fear, he's having a little duel with Darth Vader, and the mask cracks, and he is the one inside the mask, so he fears becoming Darth Vader. A year later, after the events of Episode 5, you have Luke, Leia, Chewbacca, and Lando going to Tatooine to rescue Han Solo from the clutches of Jabba the Hutt. Leia is captured by Jabba once they're in there trying to rescue Han, and she gets her iconic slave girl outfit. So Luke at this point is now a Jedi Knight, and you can see his skills have grown since the last time we saw him. Boba Fett is thrown into the Sarlacc pit during the fight over the sand dunes when they're rescuing Han. And once they rescue Han, Luke tells them that he has to go back to Dagobah because he promised Yoda that he would return to complete his training. So he goes back to Dagobah, and Yoda is dying at this point from old age. He tells Luke that he doesn't need to complete his training because he knows pretty much all he needs to know to face Darth Vader. And the death of Yoda means that Luke is basically the only Jedi left in the galaxy at this point, as far as they know. The rebels soon learned that the Empire is building a second Death Star that is bigger, badder than the previous Death Star, but it is incomplete. It is just the skeleton. It is not fully solid with all the coverings like the previous Death Star. So a group of rebels led by Han and Leia go down to the forest moon of Endor to disable the generator, because this also, the Empire got smart and there's a shield generator around this Death Star, so you won't be shooting any precision shots blowing this one up. So they definitely they're prepared for the rebels this time. They didn't catch them with their pants down like they did the first time. Luke heads to the Death Star to confront Darth Vader for the second and final time. Luke is tempted to join the dark side, not only by Vader. In Episode 5, he was tempted already once. He is being tempted again by Palpatine to destroy Vader and then become his apprentice. And for a minute, Luke's anger starts getting the better of him until he cuts off one of Darth Vader's hand, and he sees that he's just almost not human at this point, and he realized he doesn't want to end up like that. That was his fear. And so he doesn't give in to his fear. He rises above it, and he refuses to kill Darth Vader, which the Emperor is not happy about. So Palpatine just is force lightning Luke to death, basically. He is just assaulting this kid, and seeing Luke almost die at the hands of the Emperor does something to Darth Vader. He rises up against the Emperor and tosses him into a never-ending pit, essentially, and killing him. But he is also grievously wounded when he picks the Emperor up and he gets like force lightning and he is dying. And Luke takes off his mask and he sees his father for the first time, you know, not as Darth Vader. Luke basically redeemed his father, and Anakin did fulfill the Chosen One prophecy because he destroyed the Sith, the Emperor, and himself, and has brought balance back to the Force. The Rebels end up getting the shield generator down. They destroy the second Death Star, and so the galaxy is free from the tyranny of Palpatine's reign, and everyone's just pumped about that. I kind of want to talk about some of the mistakes that the Empire made that led them to being destroyed. The first one is the suppression of the Force. They didn't allow anyone to know about the Force or do anything with the Force, so it threw the Force out of balance. Their campaign of fear was also a huge mistake. Fear works as a motivator, but it only motivates you to do the bare minimum so you don't die. It's not like hope or ambition that kind of makes you strive. And eventually people stop being afraid and they fight back. It's like a dog. Like if you beat a dog, eventually the dog's gonna bite you back. So that's kind of what happened with the Rebels. You know, people were just tired of being oppressed and being just run over by the Empire. So it was only natural that people were gonna fight back. Another big problem of the Empire was incompetent underlings. Vader force chokes no less than 4 or 5 himself, you know, military commanders of the Imperial fleet. So that just goes to show how many people just can't do their job. If your job is to, you know, be in the Empire, you kind of want to do it right, because they definitely have their benefit, their severance package is not it's not good. It's kind of like a Klingon promotion where you get your job by the person before you dying. It doesn't really work well for institutions lasting a very long time. I mean, even in the Sith they have this problem because that's how they promote people. You know, it's like, oh, I want a promotion, let me kill my boss. It doesn't work for the long run. The stormtroopers also add to the incompetent underlings. Not only were they not able to find the droids they were looking for, they obviously need to go to marksman school because they are not hitting the mark at all. They need to go get those clone troopers back because these guys are not getting it done. So that's another problem that is not really helping the Empire situation, is all the incompetence, the gross incompetence that is abound for some reason. The other major mistake that the Empire made is that they were too reliant on their technology. They really stopped relying on the Force.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Luke and Leia are really significant as symbols for what has happened in the galaxy up until this point. You have both of them being a child of Darth Vader. They go on to represent two aspects of the galaxy that were kind of lost during the reign of the Empire, and that is democracy and the Jedi way. Luke represents the Jedi way. He obviously becomes a Jedi, and he brings that back into play. And Leia represents democracy and the Republic and all that was destroyed with the Empire. Thank you for coming on this journey with me through the Star Wars history. I have a bonus video about my thoughts on the prequels, so I'll just link that over here. And I am super excited to see the new movie. I will definitely do a review video when that comes out, so look forward to that, and I will see you in my next video.